It was said that the top military commander of the Russian armed forces was killed by accident by his own units. Since Russia has lost a lot of soldiers since the war started, this is very hard situation. People talk about how bad Russia's military is, but if they lose an experienced soldier in an accident like this, it can be very hard for them. A European official said that on the first day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the commander of the Russian 37th Motor Rifle Brigade was crushed by an armored vehicle and seriously hurt. Even though people tried to help, the wounded commander could not get away and died. It was also said that this wasn't the first time Russia had lost a commander. In this war, 7 generals from the Russian army were killed, but Russia doesn't have full answer to this question. In this war, where Russia needs experienced soldiers, these losses make it hard for Russia to do business and make plans. The Ukrainian government says that Yakov, who was in charge of the 37th Motor Rifle Brigade and Lieutenant General of the 49th Combined Armed Forces Army were both killed. While Russia stays quiet on this issue, they also stay quiet on all other issues, which makes it more likely that more accusations are true. In this war between Russian forces and the Ukrainian forces, it is though that the Russian forces will lose more people. Subscribe to my 72 update channel to keep up with what's going on in the world. Russia is still bombing eastern Ukraine. On the other hand, Russian lines are being hit hard and destroyed by Ukrainian armed forces. Information shared by the Ukrainian special forces show that the Russian column was destroyed by missiles from a special unit of the Ukrainian armed forces that got behind Russian lines. Hileria is said to be a place where the Russians store weapons. Operators in the area accompanied the attack with a big explosion that were caught on video taken in area. After the explosions, the Russian army used a star strike to take over Gorsky and Zalot. Today, the governor of the area, Sergei Haidar, said that these 2 cities were bombed by Russia. The British Ministry of Defense said that Russian troops are still upset about the siege of Kyiv. Because of this, he didn't have time to change how the Russian offensive in the east was set up. This mistake by the Russian army, which hit the wall of the strong Ukrainian forces in the Donbass region, also hurts their ability to fight. But the main reason Russia made a campaign in a much smaller area was because the military was having trouble with organization. It is important to note that the Russian army has not made any progress in the Donbass region, where they are having the same problems. At the moment, only the Russian bombings are making a difference in the area. But these attacks hurt the people who live in the area more than they hurt the Ukrainian military. In fact, Britain is looking all over the world for weapons for the Soviet Union to give to Ukraine. To fight against Russian invaders, Britain buys Soviet and Russian weapons from Ukraine. British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace says that Britain wants the rest of the world to give Soviet weapons to Ukrainian army. Many military and defense departments around the world are working to help Ukraine. During a visit to Washington on May 11, the defense secretary told reporters about it. Ben Wallace says that Russia is also looking for a weapon like this that could show that it has lost its war with Ukraine. Find out what the Ukrainians have learned and what they need to keep the war going if you want to tell them about this in the morning. He also said recently that British Secretary of Defense Ben Wallace announced that the British government, "We are willing to help other countries send military planes to Ukraine." The idea is that Britain is willing to help countries that have fighters made by the Soviet Union and send them to Ukraine. Poland, Slovakia and Bulgaria could not among these places. As part of the Russian Ministry of Defense's statement about the current state of the Ukrainian Air Force, it is important to remember that the number of airstrikes to help the country's armed forces has gone up in the past few weeks. Due to the success of the Turkish army, the United Kingdom wants to give a Ukrainian army fighters and drones. Their main goal is to strengthen the Air Force. The British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace could go to Turkey soon to help stop weapons from going to Ukraine. When the rest of the world turned away from the Russian invasion of Ukraine on February 24, the Middle East started to get a lot of attention. Israel keeps beating Assad, who is one of the Putin's best friends. Israel launched a large-scale attack on Syria last night. A few days after, Iran and Lebanon F-16 fighters bombed western Syria. Isabella's troops took control of military bases in the south and west of Syria. Israel responded right away by launching a brutal attack on local facilities. There are serious injuries in the area right now. First, the Israeli Air Forces used F-16 guided rockets to attack pro-Iranian military base in Kholon Heights. The attacks on Damascus then kept going on. It is said that several Israeli warplanes took part in the attack in western Syria. There were two groups of planes. The first group launched attack from Israeli and Lebanese airspace. The second group was over the Mediterranean Sea. The Syrian Ministry of War has released a statement about the attacks on the seas of the provinces of Latakia and Tartus. The statement says that Israeli attack on southern Damascus from the Golan Heights has done a lot of damage to the area. Unknown explosions happened in the area a few minutes ago and caused unknown fires to start. Syrian media talk about how the country's air defense have been turned on and how enemy targets have been taken out in capital. Iranian activists fired on Syrian military bases on the outskirts of Damascus, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Because of work at the airport, 2 flights were late. On the coast of the Syrian city of Tardiz, people also heard echoes. Russia has 300 anti-aircraft missile systems in the area, but it is clear that they can't hurt any planes. Israeli F-16 fighter jets. At the same time, the Israeli Air Force attacked the Damascus airport in the capital, causing a lot of damage. Magomed Tushayev, one of the leaders who sent Kadyrov to Ukraine to support Russia, was killed by Ukrainian troops. Magomed Tushayev, commander of the 141st Electric Rifle Regiment of the Chechen National Guard, is said to have been killed today at Gostomel airport near Kyiv. This news was first published by the Turkish newspaper correspondent Yilmaz Bilgen. Yilmaz Bilgen shared this post. Ukrainian troops killed Magomed Tushayev, one of the leaders who sent Kadyrov to Ukraine to support Russia. Tushayev led the way as commander of the 141st Mechanized Regiment. The Azerbaijani news site Onkret.iz reports in the news. This is one of the most elite units between Putin and Kadyrov. He is alone. Our bombing destroyed the pillars of Chechnya and the corpse of Chechnya lay in the soil of Ukraine, vertical telegram said.